Hi ladies, this is a presentation about sexual selection. So you've been learning about natural selection and you learned about artificial selection when humans select the traits, and natural selection where nature or the environment is selecting what is favorable. With sexual selection, what you need to think about is that some members of the population are going to mate more often than others. And this may not be because they're able to survive, it actually has to do with the fact that they have traits that help them mate, okay, more than other individuals. So these traits could be like a peacock's plume. Darwin, when he first saw peacocks, didn't understand how they had these large tail feathers. It didn't make sense based on his theory of natural selection. Having large tail feathers would allow a predator to more easily kill the peacock. So having a tail feather, having all these feathers didn't make sense to Darwin. He said that peacocks would make him sick. So why would tail feathers come to dominate the male population? Okay, this has to actually do with sexual selection. So having traits that make an individual more likely to mate, okay, those traits will increase in the population. So you can see here's a male peacock. Okay, here's a female peacock. Okay, she's a little bit more brown, a little bit more drab, better for blending in. Okay, so let's look at some other traits that show dimorphism. Okay, when I say dimorphism, I mean that the male and the female are different from each other. So the females typically are more brown and plain, and the males usually have a more extravagant trait. Okay, so here's a couple examples. You can think about lions. Okay, lions have this large mane. Usually they're larger in size. With deer or a lot of other different like organisms will have horns or antlers or some other trait that shows that they have these desirable traits, okay, and they're more likely to mate with the females. So a male deer that can compete with other deer with antlers and win and use this disadvantage must have better genetic material than a male that doesn't. Okay, so bright coloration or other traits does provide a fitness advantage. Okay, so even though sometimes these traits are either heavy or require more energy to maintain, it will allow them to reproduce more. And remember that fitness is reproductive success. So being able to mate more will increase your fitness. Okay, so I want to show you two more examples. In order to do this, you need to pause this video and watch the video on the birds of paradise and watch the video called Crimes of Passion on Haiku. Okay, both are posted. Don't skip these because they're actually quite comical and I think that you will enjoy watching them. Okay, so hopefully you were able to see the Birds of Paradise video and the video with the bowerbirds. Really interesting behavioral methods of sexual selection. So in the Birds of Paradise video, many of the different species of the different birds of paradise would actually have to perform a dance or have some physical feature that attracted the females. In the example with the bowerbird, okay, the male had to create this bachelor pad that had all these blue things in it to attract the female. So the better he was able to create this nest, okay, the more likely that a female would decide to mate with him. Okay, remember that these traits are just advertising the good genetic quality that these males have. If they can survive with this slight disadvantage, okay, or maybe they can survive with this trait, okay, they have really good genetic characteristics that the females want. And what I want you to think about next is why are females usually less bright or choosy almost about which males they mate with? So a female usually is less bright, okay, more of this drab coloration usually because she is in charge of protecting her offspring. Okay, this light coloration enables her usually to blend in with her environment and to not draw attention to her. Females are also more choosy because they have a huge investment. In order for them to have offspring, okay, the female has to, number one, carry the cubs or her children through pregnancy, which it requires a lot of energy. And then once they're born, she has to raise them until they're old enough to take care of themselves. A lot of species don't have male contribution to a raising of the young. So a female, if she's going to invest all of this energy and all of these resources to raise her young, she wants to, number one, make sure that they are going to have good genetic they want to have good genes. Okay, so mating with a male that has these desirable characteristics, okay, they have good genes. And number two, okay, she wants to make sure that it's worth the investment. Okay, if she is going to spend all this time and energy, okay, she wants to make sure that she's picking the correct male to do this with. If you have any questions on sexual selection, please bring them with you to class. We will talk about this briefly next time we meet. Have a nice day, girls.